If you like true crime, you're going to really like this show because honestly, we fear them and we loathe them and we certainly want them to get what's coming to them, right? But they fascinate us. There is no getting around it. Serial killers fascinate us. Their names are like etched in our psyche. Stuff in nightmares and blockbuster movies and podcasts and docudramas. John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown. Dennis Rader, BTK, for buying, torture, kill. Ted Bundy, Son of Sam, Jeffrey Dahmer. I could go on and on. And I think you'd listen. Keith Jesperson, it's another one of them, holds a special place of dishonor in this sorry group. He's better known as the Happy Face Killer, serving multiple life sentences for murdering 8 women across 6 states in the 90s. Kind of easy to do as a long-haul trucker. He preyed mostly on sex workers, sometimes raped them before he strangled them. But he was, of course, also a family man. Oh, they always are, right? Family man, BTK, family man. Frickin' Boy Scout, you know. But Keith's marriage didn't last. I wonder why. When he was married, though, he did have 2 daughters and a son. And one daughter actually said that she had seen her dad strangle a cat with a smile on his face. Weird thing is, that's not how he got his name, Happy Face. That is not where the nickname came from. He got it because he was drawing smiley faces on all those letters that he was taunting the media and the authorities with. But, dum-dum, got him caught, especially after strangling his longtime girlfriend, at which point he confessed to the other deaths, too, the ones that police could confirm, and lots of others. As many as 160. Today, the Happy Face Killer is exactly where he should be, rotting. Rotting behind bars, wondering if he's a big deal. And he will rot there for the rest of his life at the Oregon State Penitentiary. With all of that free time, though, he got himself a hobby, because one must have one if that's all you do all day. He writes to other suspected serial killers or serial killers. Most recently, as we've reported, he has written to Rex Heuermann. That's the suspected Long Island serial killer. And NewsNation correspondent Laura Ingle gained exclusive and extraordinary access to Keith Jesperson, Happy Face Killer. And I want you to hear what he told Laura about Rex Heuermann and Heuermann's wife, Asa Ellerup, and that whole 7-figure documentary deal that they did. These are the audio interviews conducted over the phone. Have a listen.
Going back to back in 1995, when I was arrested, I was thrown into a room full of other inmates, and every one of them was going through a process in the court system. And I basically was at school learning what was going to happen next in the court system for me. And nobody told me what was going to happen next. I had to stumble along and come up with my own conclusions, what I needed to do. Now, granted, my case was unique. The fact that my first murder had 2 innocent people in prison, and my first agenda was to get those 2 people released from prison. Now, Rex doesn't have that. Rex he's picked up he's a suspect in the Long Island serial killer case, and as it is right now, that's all he is a suspect. But sooner or later, he's going to get convicted. Now, New York does not have the death penalty, so his options are very limited of what he can and cannot do.
Right.
See, you can't see what his problem is that, like I said, New York does not have the death penalty, so he's going to be convicted, and his only option is to determine where he's going to do his time at and how well his time is going to be.
Right.
That's the only thing I can offer. I suggest to him that he solve himself, to contact the authorities, to make a deal to do his time outside of New York, because when he's convicted in New York, now New York's no joke. It's a bad prison system. I mean, these are tough guys in there.
Right.
He's going to be put in solitary confinement or wherever. He's going to be kept away from it, from the general population, because it'd be like Jeffrey Dahmer being thrown in that hallway and getting beaten to death. They don't want that to happen.
Right.
But they're not going to stop it if it does. So he'll have his only option, and what I explained to him was, you have to solve yourself. If you're really guilty, solve yourself and help the authorities to solve who you are and make a deal to do better time somewhere else, away from the victims' families, friends and families that may be incarcerated waiting for them to get to prison.
Right. Well, how do you think that advice went over? Do you have any indication how your advice to him went over?
Well, you read the letter. You've read the letter that Rex sent me back.
Yes.
The very start of the letter it basically says that I hear you, understand what you're telling me. But the way I look at it, the way I see it now, he said one of the things in his letter said he hasn't seen any discovery yet, which tells me that he's listening to his lawyers, and his lawyers are concerned what exactly evidence they have on him. My letter back to him was like, you know damn well what your discovery was going to be, because if you're guilty, you know what it's going to. They've got you.
Right.
They don't arrest people and hoping to find the evidence after they've arrested them to convict them. They already have the evidence.
Right.
So he's going to, he's got to make that decision. And I got a feeling what's going to happen is that he's allowing his lawyers to make that decision for him at this time. I actually believe it's going to go to full trial. He's never going to stand up and take responsibility for it. Maybe at the very end, I don't know, but his wife divorced him right away, which isn't a good sign. There's a lot of negatives going on in his life right now, and I think he's just going to throw himself to the wolves.
What did you make of the fact that his wife is making a documentary and showed up at court?
This is social media. This is a whole new ballgame from when I went to court. I mean, now you have social. Everyone wants to talk about crime and go. Now his wife is making a living. Now my daughter got involved with his wife. My daughter Melissa tried to start a GoFundMe page for her, and of course she's now his wife is doing a documentary, getting paid $1 million to do a live TV camera type thing.
Yeah.
It's. I know the victims' families are up in arms over this, but until the guy's convicted, they have nothing to stand on. But
right.
I think it's a wrong move. I think it's a bad move on her part. But she's trying to separate herself from him, and so she's trying to make a living now that he's gone.
Right.
She has accepted the fact that he's not coming home.
Right.
Now that also tells me that maybe she knows more about the case than she should know.
Right.
She might be involved in it. She might be very well. It might have been when they hired the hookers to come in. Maybe she was involved in that process, and only after the murders happened, all of a sudden she gets tied in. Now, from what I understand, that hair DNA from her have been found on the bodies.
Right.
So that in itself will bring into question whether or not she was complacent with this or not.
What stood out to you in the letter that Rex Heuermann wrote you back when you had said, come clean, confess, you'll have a better life, you'll get a job? What stood out to you when he wrote you back?
I don't think it takes a good set of balls to step up to the plate and take responsibility for your actions. I did it, and I found that when I came clean and said I was the happy-faced killer, that I am responsible for these murders and that those two people were innocent, and I was going to prove this. I found that the moment I was telling the truth and getting it all done, that I had a lot of weight taken off my shoulders, because now I was just telling the truth. I'm not trying to hide behind it. I think it takes a great amount of strength to cross over into that passage to get away from lying to the public or sitting back on your laurels and letting your lawyers do the talking for you.
One known victim of the Happy Face killer remains unidentified, but she is referred to by a name. They picked Claudia. Don't know why. He was convicted of murdering so-called Claudia 14 years ago. And now with advances in DNA technology, there is a brand new push by a California district attorney to find out exactly who this Claudia really was. Here's what Keith Jesperson told our Laura Ingle about that.
Given them everything I could. I've been up front with them ever since I was arrested. And I settled that case in 2010. I picked up a 25 years to life doing concurrent with Oregon.
Right.
So I was down there talking to them in December 2009 and into February. I think it was around February I was brought back here, but it was all the upper up. I've given everything I could.
Right.
So, and of course, the DNA, they in 2022, they solved the identity of Patricia Skipple, my fifth victim. And of course, just this last March, they identified my Florida case as a Susanna, or whatever her last name, but I don't know.
Kellenberg.
But that's the one I'm currently going through court with in Florida, and I'll probably pick up another 25 years to do concurrent or consecutive.
Right. So you've already given all the information you can about Claudia. What can you...
Oh, yeah.
What did you tell them about Claudia? Can you share with me?
Oh, she was with me for just a few hours. Not much I can really talk about on that. It's just that I didn't get a name, and that's about the size of it.
Did she didn't have any identified, and she didn't have any...
She had no purse, no baggage, no ID, no nothing on her.
Right.
She had a white top. There was 1 minute remaining there.
And you guys, did you get into an argument?
No, not much of an argument. It was just circumstance on how it went down, and something I'd rather forget.
Something he'd rather forget. Well, yeah, because, when you kill someone, it can't feel great after when you're rotting in prison for life. That whole business about Suzanne, whatever her name, whatever. So that little piece of journalism right there belongs to one Laura Ingle, NewsNation correspondent, and Laura is with me live now. That was so fascinating. And I know you had a horrible cold and you were struggling through it, but you did such a great job because it's hard talking to a serial killer. It's hard maintaining your composure so as not to be considered by the audience to be complacent about the filthy beast that you're speaking with, but also to draw out of him everything you can. Because isn't that really what we're here for, Laura? We just want to know, how is it that these people end up so far away from the flock?
That's right. And that's what I was trying to do, was just to let him keep talking through my cough, and I apologize for that. But I just wanted him to talk to me and tell me what he could remember about his victims, but more importantly, the story that we have been covering. What has he been communicating with Rex Heuermann, the Long Island serial killer suspect? We know that he has been trying to get him to confess for a while. He told me in some of the letters that I have here that not only did I have that phone call, I have 5 letters. They are double-sided, and they are here. And he describes talking to him and saying, come clean. You'll have a better life if you just confess to all of your crimes, and you will go to prison. You will get a job. You will have better food and all of that. So, as I was talking to him about why he did that, it turns out, as you mentioned, it's kind of a hobby. He does write to many people from his prison in Oregon, and he reached out to Rex Heuermann. Rex Heuermann wrote back, and he's trying to get him to confess. And it was a very interesting conversation. And I think one of the things that is so frightening about serial killers, killers in general, but especially serial killers, is just how normal they can sound. Because serial killers are scary, of course, but when you think of them, you might think of somebody lurking in the shadows. But these are generally normal-looking people that, you know, these women got into his truck. And for Rex Heuermann, if he is guilty, you know, he's an architect working in Manhattan, living in Massapequa on Long Island. And that's not what they're supposed to look and sound like.
Sure. They're supposed to look like, you know, terrifying, monstrous ogres. And the reason they can ply their trade for so long is because they slink around among us, and they're wolves in sheep's clothing. I have to be honest with you, Laura, when I was listening to him talking to you, espousing bullshit, because the guy is not incarcerated in the New York system, but there he is, the know-it-all about New York. Oh, I know about New York. Yeah, it's terrible, but you don't want to be in New York. It really reminded me of the hubris of Dennis Rader, because there's another guy who spoke in court as though the rest of us were so lucky to be there to listen to him espouse the knowledge of life. And I'm starting to wonder if that isn't a little piece of all of them. They just all think they're superior to everyone.
It is interesting that you compare it to BTK because as we heard that confession of Dennis Rader in court, he was just very matter of fact. And that is the perspective that Keith Jesperson gave us in that call. It was very matter of fact. He was talking to, one of the letters he wrote to me was, he wrote it to me like I had killed people, and he's basically giving me the perspective of what he gave to Rex Heuermann in his letter, saying, okay, so Laura, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna be quiet, you're not gonna trust the media, you're going to, you know, if you are guilty, you're gonna fess up, and you're gonna start to get this better food and a better job. And he wrote to me in this way, and I wanted to show you really quick. You know, remember that part that we heard about Rex Heuermann asking if Jesperson had butter for his bread? Well, Jesperson sent me the prison menu. It kind of looks like what you got back in the school days, and also the things that you can buy at the commissary. Look at how big this is. These are all the different things. And yes, in fact, you can get margarine for your butter and your biscuits and your bread. So just a very interesting look into this. Yes.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.